Sorry, we're running a little late. We're live to talk Immortal Rising with Aaron, the creator, and of course my co-host, the covetous Jew, Chris Fisk.
Hi, mate.
I'm glad we ran a little late though, because I was talking with Aaron at the start, and it's like, wow, I definitely like this guy. I'm glad Chris Fisk is aware of film. However, I don't know if y'all are friends for a while or what, but I got a good feeling.
I'm disgusted at the fact that you are co-hosting yet again with another. Like, I knew you slept around, but like now you're introducing me to
not like this.
Now you're introducing me to your other fucking girlfriend. That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate
I'm a dirty home.
Yeah, no, Chris has basically been co-hosting with me for, I don't know, months now. 6 months, maybe more. I'm not sure. Probably 6 months, I bet. So, I don't know. It's been a long time. Yes. And hi, nerds. Hail nerds. Hope everybody's having a good time out there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Are you there?
No, I'm here. I'm just trying to multitask.
I hate it.
So yeah, tell us about yourself.
The problem with multitasking is that if you're split in three ways, it's only like 33% getting done in each thing.
Wait, are we going Steiner math?
Yeah. Yep.
33 and a third percent.
33 and a third 0.3333.
But I'm a genetic freak, so that makes it the odds are much lower.
Wait a minute. Speaking of genetics, did you see that thing in Britain? It was The Guardian. I think it was Critical Blast posted it, and it was a picture of the cover of The Guardian in England, and it said it was like the main story was something about Trump, right? Some negative thing about Trump.
Of course.
And then underneath it, somebody highlighted the other headline.
Ist ein sex monster or something like that?
No, it was like three people's chromosomes inside of one person's baby.
You saw it. Yeah.
That's not possible, by the way.
Like, what is that?
A zygote, a zygote is was it like dicotyledon or whatever the hell they call it? You only get you can't get that would be called a chimera if you can get more than two chromosomes.
Exactly. Yes. So
pretty scary.
Basically, they're admitting to creating chimera humans.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Do you suppose they use the CRISPR? I know the Chinese have been using the CRISPR shit, so I don't even know what that means. I just want my
Ninja Turtles, man.
They're gonna make like smarter
Alex
people.
Jones talked about this for like the last 10 years.
Yeah, the Clockwork Elves.
No, that was Terrence McKenna. That was very different. Yeah. He's like, all you gotta do is eat these little mushrooms and you'll see little imaginary elves. I was like, all right.
I'll see them all the time.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I suppose. I don't know. Sorry. I'm distracting.
No, you're good. Tell us about yourself and this project, and then we'll watch the trailer.
Well, I'm pretty cool. I'm really laid back. I'm good to get along with. I'd say I'm about a 4 in looks, but I really try, so I make up for it. Plus, I'm like over 6 foot, so you know what they say.
Big shoes.
I don't know. That's about me. No. All right. So, Immortal Rising. Immortal Rising is a dark fantasy meets epic fantasy. Like, I think of Castlevania meets Final Fantasy. And like if they had a baby, that's basically the story. No, that's the setting. The story itself it's actually 2 stories. The main story is these 5 strangers who, they get thrust together right into a war that is not, it's not of their making. Like it's next pay grade. It's like a war of the gods. And so they get sucked into this and into a world that is ruled by the undead lords of Dracula. So this world is ruled by vampires and werewolves and all the things that go bump in the night. And on this world is is the battlefield of this god war. And these 5 strangers here have to figure out how to work together to make it through, as they say. And that's the first story. The first story is 34 pages, and it's 34 pages by, Jose Garcia. I don't know if you're not familiar with Jose Garcia. He has a...
Oh,
what? You cut out? Wait,
Oh,
did
no.
he mute himself?
No, I think his mic got... I think StreamYards does that when the mic...
Oh, no, he
wire gets
disconnected his own mic.
cut. Yeah. I hope he
Rip.
can still hear us. Hey, type something in private, Aaron, if you can hear us.
While we're waiting on him to fix
okay.
this technical issue, I will drop this in the chat. Here's a link for y'all to go back the book.
Hello, how's that? Sorry about that.
Yeah. You're back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. StreamYard's been doing that off and on. I assumed it was my computer, but yeah, I mean, anyways. So, where was I? Yes, that's the first story, is the group of 5 strangers. That's kind of like the first level version of the overall story. Then the second story is is like the gods. We get to see this god war, but from the view of the gods. Like, they're not aware. The good guys don't know what the bad guys are doing until this issue. So then, and in this issue, we catch these 2 gods right here. One is named Listo, and the other is Erickson. They're best friends, they're basically brothers. They've been together and worked together for, a couple thousand years or whatever. I don't know how old are gods. And we see them as they go into a infiltration mission to kill a betrayer demon in hell. So yeah, go figure, a demon would betray them. But
No.
Yes, and so we kind of get to see the same god battle from the first level perspective and the 99th level perspective, I guess. So it's kind of cool. Very meta.
Yeah, the ground level versus the up on the hill.
Yep. Yeah.
Look at that dude.
Why is what is happening to me happening? We get to see, we get to see it in ways that you don't really get to see in other stories. It's like, oh, shit happens to him. It's like, well, but Crom had had something to play in Conan's story, like and this kind of shows, well, this is what the gods know and why they do what they do. So it's a pretty cool supplemental story.
Nice.
Not only that, but look at that. I mean,
yeah, Jose Garcia, man.
Jose Garcia, dude. Yeah. Yeah, that I'm gonna have to turn into a shirt or a poster or something, but it will happen. Especially because Chris did all my graphics, right? Like, he did all the content on this campaign page, and he cut that out and put it on an ad that I'm gonna be putting in the Anvil magazine for the hashtag Iron Age, right? I'm gonna have an ad in the back of the first issue that probably will be Chris's, because I did a version and it's not as good. It's like living on the hill versus living in a trailer. As far as
oh, damn. What you say? I ain't no tired yet.
I mean, I use Microsoft Paint or whatever it's called. Yeah, so it's pretty embarrassing, but it gets the job done usually.
Man. Hell yeah, dude! I got a question. I forgot to ask this one, but okay. So this is a series. This is the introductory tale into a series of books. Do the stories ever converge? Do we ever see the gods talk directly or intervene in any way with the low levels?
Yes, actually, in the third book, you see them purposely act. In the first books, everybody's like, what the fuck's going on? Excuse my language. And then the second one, everybody kind of figures out what's going on. And then in the third one, you have the resolution, right? Where they're like, okay, this is the new normal. And so
trilogy.
Yes. And so the gods, they do send an actor directly down to into this group.
Nice.
It's not like it's kind of, but not really what is that called? Deus Ex Machina, right?
Yeah.
It's not. It's kind of that, but it's not really. So you have to see the third one, which is actually why I'm making this. So anything over the cost, like shipping and production and all that shit, because like the art, I consider. I'm who knows how long I'll get the cost back on that, but the general cost for like shipping and printing. All of that anything extra off of that, it goes to issue number 3. So Jose is ready to get her done. And so I know you guys are like, what, issue number 3? Well, it's because I have issue number 2. It's 95% done right now. So already know what's going on with number 2. That's for both stories, and then number 3, Jose has the script. So we're ready to fire the gun on 3. I'm hoping the way this is turning out, I'm hoping I hit $5,000. So please help me out. But I'm hoping to hit $5,000, and if I hit $5,000, it'll be much easier to have like the initial storyboard done. So like we can kind of start hashing out what's gonna stay in number 3. So.
Nice.
So please help me out. Also, if we hit $5,000, I want to do stickers. I was thinking of doing like the logo as a sticker. So I don't know. We'll see.
Cool.
If I was going to make a suggestion about a sticker,
definitely, please do.
I think I don't know how important this perspective is, but I think these gods are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially this one with the mask.
Yeah.
I'd go with that.
Put some Eric.
But I don't know how much of a distraction it'd be from like your main target like characters. I'm assuming your first level 1 is like the more pertinent perspective for your series.
Yeah, that's the main one. It is. Yeah.
Well, then I would go with one of your main guys from your roster here. Okay. Probably a girl.
So not
titty appeal.
Yeah. Well, so not the logo. Gotcha.
No logo.
Well, you can incorporate the logo with the image. That way you can marry the branding to it.
Yeah, you could like whatever the logo, whatever the sticker is, have it be like the bottom or the side, or however you want to stylize it. But yeah, not the logo by itself. It's like, what the fuck's that?
Yeah, good point. I like it. Yeah, I should do a character, and I think that doing the Listo there, that would be pretty cool. Though the one with he looks like he's from fucking Warhammer 40K. Yeah, it's
Swiss
pretty
Army
badass. Everybody, Swiss Army, everybody loves that image. And there's a few others in the book itself that are like, wow. So,
what was that one that you showed in the update, dude? Because you've got one that you showed in the update that Jose did.
Yeah,
and that would be insane.
Yeah,
because it's a full body.
So I kind of want to describe this for a second. Whoa, what happened? Everybody got quiet. So that's there you go. So that is the character design that Jose did when I gave him a description of the God of Battle. So yeah,
look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's actually in so I have a first version that I did with a different artist. And that one did not include the God story. I actually was waiting on the first one being done, and I was like, there's more to tell in this story that would be cool and make more sense. So I was like, let me write the story from the God's perspective. It's the DM's perspective, right? You have the player's perspective and the DM's perspective. And I was like, let me just kind of write all this out because one, it's kind of cool because like this is all based off of like my tabletop game. And so it's kind of fun, having some of the players who actually play these characters read, what the gods were going through at the time. That was pretty fun. But anyways, so I gave him a description of what this guy would look like. And yeah, this is what he came out with. It was really cool.
You know what it makes me think of? Have you ever seen the movie Curse of the Golden Flower?
No, but that sounds like a Chinese badass movie.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, I don't want to like drop this and you think like, well, this guy knows deep cinema, internet. Like, I don't. This was a random thing I saw and I loved it, so I own it and I've watched it a couple of times. But yeah, there's like
Cool.
there's like some of the armor in the film, especially for the king, seems like bulky, but in a cool way.
Yeah.
But compared to like the ninjas and stuff, it's like, God, why would you ever opt for this crap? But it looks awesome. It's ceremonial too, and the color pops in the film. It's a huge rainbow of color.
Cool
camera work. So I don't know. It just reminds me. It's probably just like a very minute little thing, and it's probably not as outlandish and cool like this. But that's the first thing that comes to mind.
What this was, all right. So this character, this was a character played by a buddy of mine, a longtime friend of mine, and this guy was like, he was the god of battle. He had his two main weapons were two bastard swords, but the whole thing was like he was like Cable from the 90s. You ever read X-Men?
Oh yeah,
he was like Cable, and then so like he had all these weapons on him was the idea. And he was just like that hardened warrior who had just kind of been there, done that again. Like think of like, man, like Edge of Tomorrow, like that guy after a while. He's like, fuck this again, and that's kind of the way, I mean, well, and not necessarily, in a negative way. He probably enjoys it, right? But I said that the major cultural influence was for these elves, because he was elven. I guess now he's divine. So is he technically elven? I don't know. But so the original cultural design for the good guys was like a Japanese motif. And I said 90s Cable, and I sent him a pic with him holding a whole bunch of weapons and looking cool. And then I said Japanese. And that's what he came up with. So I was like, I like it. I'll do, the whole 40K with the circle on the back and all that stuff. I was like, that is badass, dude. It definitely, really cool. Makes you think that he's divine, like you meet her, you're like, oh shit, he's next level.
Yeah. So. We're getting a couple people in here. So anyone watching, go click in the description or the comment I left. You can go back to this for as little as $5. I want to show the trailer. I haven't actually watched it. A lot of times I just take it fresh on these streams. So
cool. I appreciate that. I do that too.
All right. So sure. Fuck. My internet's going slow for some reason. So
yeah, you're fine.
There we
Yeah.
Nice. It's good energy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had to use heavy metal. I mean,
yeah.
Heavy metal and D&D go together clearly because look at Stranger Things. Like they went to that, that was their go-to for an 80s DM. Like he would clearly listen to Megadeth and Metallica, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he definitely stole that season.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I can do Megadeth.
So, hey, will you go down? So some of the cards, I have some cards that I wanted to talk up. All right, so I guess I'll talk about this real quick. This is like the everything kind of package, except for the main difference is that on this we see one physical copy. In the everything perk, you get 2 physical copies. So, anyways, it'll be a physical copy, PDF, 2 posters. One poster is the cover, and the second poster is by the character design artist Steve Whitehead, and he did a mock-up as well, a poster. It was originally I considered it being a cover for the book and all that stuff, but things change and all that stuff. Anyways, so and then I also have a digital sketch. It's 34 pages of the or I should say it's the main story. It's the sketch version, like the what's that called?
Roughs.
Yeah, it's just the roughs, but I asked Jose, I was like, hey Jose, what can we use that's already been made that could bring some value? And he was like, well, there are artists who ask me for my sketches and stuff like that. How about we do the whole storyboard there? That's the word I was thinking of, the sketch storyboard.
Okay.
And so then people can color it or finish it or however at least, or even just see how he makes shit. So so that's included. That's $5. That's digital. And then I also have 2 sets of cards. Those cards are done by the design artist, or the character design artist, Steve Whitehead, and you can see him down there. There's 2 sets of 4. It actually, if you scroll down on the content page instead of the perks, you can see the. Oh, is it down or up? Maybe go up. I don't know. Damn it. Oh yeah, it is down. Go down below the cover, and then there's so that is the painted. I call it painted, but it's all digital. That's like the it's photorealistic or painter realistic. I don't know what the terms are. That's of the main characters there, and that's the original character designs that that got me going. So, and if you scroll down a little bit more, the second set is the same, is the characters only done by it's all done by the same artist, but that's like the comic version. So instead of like photorealistic painted, it's more of a comic, and those are hot. I kind of, man, it's like that purple one that is so fucking cool. But I don't know. And the yellow one with Muhammad, and oh dude, they're very nice. They're going to come out very nice.
Muhammad.
It's all.
I didn't know we were watching wokeness. Oh, never mind, people.
All right, I want to warn you.
Aloha, snack bar.
Allah. Yeah, so I want to warn you. It is a very woke book. So if you don't, if you don't like that, I'm sorry. There's Muhammad, right? He is a holy man. He's a cleric who fights for good, and that's obviously woke. Let's see. There's a female lead. Yeah, but she's redheaded. So if Netflix picks it up, she'll be black. So I should have seen that one coming. I should have worked on that better. Yeah. I don't know. Trying to think.
No, sorry. Well, I'll show that afterwards after you're running through this.
No, tell me, what did you have?
Well, because you're talking redheads, that's what keyed in mind, Little Mermaid, and I wanted to. This is just topical, so I think the value of a channel like mine being movie centric. That's my perspective. Comics, I'm always going to be a noob with.
Cool.
And so, I think there's a little different angle for me discussing, interviewing, talking comics and creation with people. But anyway, Grace Randolph, I think by now people in our sphere, our outlook with entertainment can be, I want to say rub bra, but that just didn't sound right. Can definitely roll her eyes at a lot of her content, a lot of her perspective, because for no reason she'll be like, well, it would be great, but the rainbow wasn't here as much as I'd like, even though it was here at all. And that's just like, shoving her face every fucking day now. it's like she'll always bring that crap, or diverse. She'll be talking like, well, they definitely need diverse. They need an Asian here. It's like, but what if they suck? And it's like, things like that. So I think she has a value perspective, not just like her size of her channel though, because she can be a good reviewer, and she's been pretty good with scoops, leaks, and stuff. Pretty good record compared to others. And last I checked on
like Mike Zero.
Her channel is owned by, I think, Deadline, or someone that owns Deadline. So like she's part of a big like media conglomerate.
Yeah.
So like I think there's like all that combined, there's a lot of value even with the crap you'll get of diversity. But anyway, there's a clip from her mermaid review that came out, and let me find it. I think I might have I sent it to Brookie.
Well, I try to be diverse, but I do have a POC. So I've got Muhammad. And he's religious, so that's kind of, but he's not Christian, so that goes against the Christians, and so that's more woke, right? Let's what else? Unfortunately, all of my elves are white, so that sucks. I don't know. I apologize.
I was hoping we get some Nicholas like in Rings of Power.
Oh my god!
Well, there's
half black, so it's okay. You don't have to be like, "Whoa, I'm on the racist channel." It's
dude,
all right.
Just chain your bike; you'll be all right.
I know some people will be like, "Ah!" They'll get scared. It's like, "Whoa!"
Yes,
I have the card. I have the race card.
Yeah, it's fine.
There is absolutely.
Oh shit! But I got.
Look, if you are half white, never claim the white part, and you're fine.
Oh yeah. But yeah, this is the 2-minute clip, and we'll get Aaron and Chris's view on this. Honestly, I think Melissa McCarthy looks pretty cool as Ursula, but I don't know if you've seen any of these clips of this movie, but it looks really bad. The animation or whatever you call this stuff.
Never see
the weight just looks wrong in how she swims.
Oh yeah.
Well, they also
this has been every live, even the Jungle Book, which is for whatever people will pretend is like a good movie. I hate all of their live action stuff that they've done, but this one especially, the weight feels really wrong. And you think this far into their live action films they would do better, but
why? They don't need to.
I guess they don't need to, but it's like individually all the art is like well done, like the craft, but like actual flowing, it does not fool me at all.
So I
don't know. I hate the redesigns too. Every single one of them looks worse than the cartoon.
Yeah. So I do want to say this though. Jose Garcia, my artist for the comic, and we're doing other things as well. But Jose, he has worked in animation for years or whatever. Like he's got scars on his hands to prove it, kind of stuff. And I'll say he actually, I was on Bancroft and he was like he kind of spoke up for artists because we were talking about the Mario movie or something, I don't know, something like that. And he was like, no, it was the trailer for the Spider-Man shit, the new Spider-Man animated, and they got like BLM shit or whatever it was. And he was like,
God,
no, artists, they have to put in a certain amount, and so even if they're against it or whatever, they still have to put it in. And you can't, basically he was saying don't blame the artist. And but like the whole like flowy, like it doesn't have weight, that's not good. Like that, I can't blame the artist on.
From an artist perspective, one thing that they failed to learn from the animation was, like, if you watch the two, like the Under the Sea side by side, the first thing you'll notice is how dreary and dark the live action version is. And there's a reason for that, because the ocean is dreary and dark. And what they did in the animated version, the cartoon, was they cheated. All of the backgrounds are all dark and shaded correctly. They even have the caustics on the ground, that animated light ripple that you see from when water passes through the surface, or light passes through the water. The thing is, though, is they turned off all the self-shadowing and all the ambient lighting on the animated characters under the water, and it gives them visibility. And they didn't do that in the live action one because these people aren't artists. They're just replicators. They're, They're relying on machines to do this instead of actually being, traditionally trained artists. They would have understood that you can't have there's a reason why if you make something look like a real fish in the water, nature designed fish to blend into the surroundings for a reason. It's survival. You can't make a real fish if you want it to stand out. You got to cheat. You got to make the lighting look bad. You got to turn off self-shadowing. And they didn't do any of that. So it looks garbage. Sorry, that's just my bitch.
No, you're good. I want to go through this video. It's 2 minutes, so we'll
wait. Before I just wanted to add to what Chris was saying. So I saw an article on Twitter, and it was talking about how all the Disney shit is really dark, and the reason is that, like, for instance, on the Wonder Woman in '84 movie, that final fight scene was in the dark because the CGI was garbage,
covering up.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
so
an easy trick.
they're to make it cheaper and faster, they're making everything dark. And I was like, interesting, because like I'm not a computer dude. Like I don't have clearly Chris knows, but I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to like graphic design. But that made complete sense to me because like I can go back and think about all of the in the dark CGI fights or scenes. And I'm like, that makes sense now because it would be too fucking expensive.
Yeah. Well, look at the design of the original Ariel versus the design that we see there. Okay, the original Ariel was actually designed after Alyssa Milano. Like the artists actually hired her as a model so that they could draw her, and that's how they created the physique and shape. But the coloring, yeah, it's weird. She was young at the time, but
well, sure. Was she even 18 then? That's just.
But I think she was like 14 or 15. But so the color on it, there's a reason for that color. Like green and red have diametric opposition on the color wheel.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you do that. See the brown that they have with the weird turquoise? Those are not opposing colors. Those blend into one another. There's a reason why Ariel has a purple bra. Okay, that weird fin shit that they got on the black replacement thing's tits, like that doesn't pop out. Like it looks like it's part of the body. Like there's a reason why they chose the colors they did. Like there's a lot of thought put into early Disney 2D animation.
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
Overlook.
It's funny you say that because like when I make thumbnails, I'm always trying to do simple contrast.
Yeah.
A simple thing I'll do is I always have like a color wheel reference for complements and opposition.
Yep.
And when you see it, you're like, oh, that's why Joker and Hulk have like the same color scheme.
Right.
Exactly.
And so it's like usually like if I do a Star Wars basically, I'm always trying to the color scheme with like the Star Wars blue font color. Mm-hmm. Or if it's like an argument about wokeness in society or entertainment, it's gonna be red or yellow for like hazards.
Yeah.
If it's like you might be offended, I might not give a fuck. It'll be like purple, because that's like a middle. It's not blue, but it's not red. Yeah, I try stuff like that. If it's more positive, I try to do greens and purples or pinks.
Yeah, it's bisexual lighting.
Yes. Dude, bisexual lighting wins, man. There's a reason why it does it.
I want to just say this. I know we're not looking at the comic pages right now, but if we look at them again, you'll actually see the color palette that that Jose chose. Was, I think, very, I mean, I want to say genius, but whatever. It's like you can tell the dude knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And I'll just say that his expertise on the color choices is just, it really brings, I mean, I'm sorry. It's just seeing his work is really impressive. I really enjoy it. And I'm so glad that I got him to be my artist. Because he could have this conversation right along with all of what you're talking about. Because he did the same thing on my own book. Obviously not to like subliminally message penises in the fucking... you know what I mean? Like he didn't do that. But at
you
the
don't
same
need
time,
to subliminally message penises.
Yeah.
They're already here.
Yeah, we just had penises and no. Actually, I don't even
this is a penis world. We just
I don't even cuss in the damn book. But I'll say this though.
Penis world.
Penis world. Yeah, under the
bean. Well, no, the other thing that I'd like to gripe about is the character costume redesigns. Other than like the Ariel one, Like,
Yeah.
first of all, Javier Bardem, in my opinion, is another bad casting choice. Just like like I love the Ariel.
Wait, they got Javier. Is that who's fucking the king?
Yeah. So Triton
wow,
is now
they got
and he's got
Sugar.
Spanish. Yeah, he's got like the No Country for Old Men, like Southern like Spanish accent. And he's like, his words are almost unintelligible.
Yeah,
the humor. Like it's like,
oh,
dude, it
God.
doesn't work for King Triton. He should be like a
Triton should be like Zeus from Hercules.
Yeah.
Like, oh my boy, you know.
Yeah,
like,
he should be jacked out of his tree too. Like if you look at the cartoon version, he's like this fucking ripped dude. And then you look at Javier, and they had to put a piece of armor on him because his gut was drooping out.
Oh,
you know. Yeah, and maybe like I could see Melissa McCarthy being a good casting choice. One thing I will compliment is they understood that the lighting was terrible with black on dark blue for the Ursula redesign. So they retooled her skin color, but they also gave her bioluminescent tentacles, and I think that is an awesome compromise.
I can't wait for the Rule 34 content from that. You know what, Melissa? She's I've seen her in Gilmore Girls, and she's pleasant. Little spritz in that show. Given her career in film, it's like, oh, I don't fucking hate her in this. And she's slimmed down a bit, and so you know she does have a good personality.
Well, she's Jenny McCarthy's cousin. I mean, come on.
Is it because she's younger? Is she slimmer? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Gilmore
Girls. Melissa McCarthy, right?
Yeah,
because Gilmore Girls, she'd be like, you know.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about now, and I'm like, younger.
No.
20 years later. What?
No.
Am I taking crazy pills?
Yeah, you're retarded, Immortal.
What are you trying to get crazy with? That's it?
Oh, God. I watched too much Breaking Bad, too much Walt Jr. content.
All right. So
now I have the palsy.
Play your 2 minutes. I didn't mean to distract.
Well.
Yeah.
But,
there is absolutely nothing to hate about this movie. Absolutely nothing. You know, if anyone hates on it, again, that's a commentary on themselves.
Oh, God. If you don't like this movie, you're racist.
Look at her eyes.
That's the Thundercats Go. You know, anyone who does not enjoy Thundercats Go has poopy thoughts and poopy opinions that they should keep to themselves. They actually did that in Thundercats Go because people are like, what is this shit?
Hey, Chris, I just want to tell you, I think you're clipping really bad. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's there's something wrong with, I think, the wire or something where the volume, like I've been lowering the gate.
Yeah.
And when the volume gets loud, it goes and it cuts out a little.
Yeah.
I said lowering the gate. I'm like, whoa.
Really? You're lowering the gay? Okay.
No,
drop it, guys.
Oh.
GAPE. Gape.
Oh, gape.
Yeah, I got to figure out if it's a loose wire or something. I ordered some air.
Oh, something's loose, all right.
I'm a dirty whore after all.
But yeah, let's continue.
I continue to stand by my comments that you can't have all these Caribbean musical numbers and a white Ariel. Here, they did shoot in Italy. All over the end credits, they're like, we're in Sardinia. And I'm like, it must be very pretty there. And I wish they hadn't done that because it's going to give fuel to the haters.
Fuel me up. Why'd you film in a white country?
Yeah.
And then race swap.
Well, Hans Christian Andersen was a Danish, obviously a white author. He wrote this about his area. Like it was locate, like he comes from like Vikings essentially, you know, like a seafaring people. And nope, it's got to be Caribbean. Like Disney was the one that put the Caribbean spin on it in the cartoon. That wasn't in the original book.
Well, it's like I don't get how, like, it's strange because you got a lot of educated idiots on the left. No, it's for real. It's like, you know, it's easy to say that because like, oh, you went to school, you haven't worked, so you're an idiot. You don't really.
There's a lot of,
but no, for real. There's like they know how like they know these like complex, educated like misgivings or just straight lies that are so codified. You have to be intelligent in a way to be even able to articulate it properly.
Yeah. The rhetoric, sure.
Yeah, the rhetoric. It's crazy because it's like, all right, representation matters. And it's like, redheads make what, 1% of white people? And
that's a part of the game. That's a part of the Marxist game, is that they get to revolutionize. they get to revolutionize the vocabulary. You understand? So like they
Sodomize
get
the
to
language.
They get to rule the language, and that is what dictates thought. And they know what they're doing. That's not stupid.
Yeah, Orwell taught us newspeak.
But the people that fall for it are stupid. Yes.
You're right. But it's just crazy because it's like, this is the thing that I think they're right. Never, even though they can like say it and they know the Orwell, the doublespeak, newspeak, etc. They get stuck in like live mode of experiencing it, and they're like, oh, why can't they understand it's a lie? And it's like, dude, you're talking about narrative. It's like the same problem on the right when you talk like religion, where it's like, my summation is like God created sin, and they're like, no. It's like, but he made Satan, right? And God, nothing is made without God, so God made sin, and you go through this fucking loop. This loop. It's like, no, it's Satan's fault. Like same thing with the left with like their double speak. And
the way I see it is, there's a reason why Dungeons and Dragons has two different attributes called intelligence and wisdom, and I think that's the same thing with these smart people. Is they're knowledgeable, but they're not smart, because intelligence is how. Well, no, they've crammed education into their brains. They have a lot more knowledge on certain things than other people have. They have
They might be able to regurgitate.
Yeah, but that's knowledge. No, that's knowledge. That's the acquisition of information is knowledge. But the proper application of knowledge is called wisdom.
Right. Yeah. When I was in school, so not even when I was in school, when I was in medic school, when I joined the Army, my specific class, it's kind of weird because we had like overlap. We had like 4 or 5 platoons, but then we ended up having like 7 classes out of those platoons. So there's like a weird overlap.
Yeah.
And I remember my class, we were, I think, the lowest grade on the first test. And our teacher, who used to be a medic in like the invasion era of Iraq, he's like, I'm not going to teach you the answers. I'm going to teach you how to find the best answer. I'm going to teach you how to like critical thinking about, because like a lot of problems with like medic tests and stuff is all the answers could be right, but what's the most right? And he's like, you're going to feel bad because you're like the worst class right now, but it's going to quickly equate and you're going to like stay or improve, and they're all going to fucking decline really quick because they're not teaching you this way. And I've really stuck that nugget deep of the critical thinking, and it's funny because you look back at college where it's like, and you see it now where there's no critical thinking. It's the indoctrination camps of it. It's really scary.
Well, I will just
you're supposed to be challenged when you go to school. You're supposed to like, be able to like, actually, teacher, you're wrong. Yes. Mama's right about the medulla oblongata.
It's like this though. So I can't say that I do it myself, but we homeschool our kids. I have 2 children that are homeschooled right now. I have an older one, but she's much older. And anyways, but I have 2 now that I'm homeschooling, and one of the things that we're about to get into soon is philosophy. Like we talk about fallacies, we talk about these things that were never mentioned, like the whole time I was in school.
Why wasn't this an elementary
I laugh about that only because I dropped out, because I was like, this is fucking daycare, and I left. And anyways, I realized later on, after I got into philosophy and things like that, it was like, wait a minute, there's a whole like way of thinking properly. Like there's a way to find, because like, I'm, obviously inquisitive, very, I didn't listen to authority very well and stuff like that. And I was like, no, there's a better way of doing these things. Anyways, so then when I found philosophy and found the Socratic method and, Aristotelianism and Platonism and all that stuff, like just learning how to think properly, it just changes your life. And I was like, with my children coming up, I got a book written for kids that lists like 10, lesser fallacies, like just those 10 fallacies, the most 90% of the people they encounter won't even know what that is. You know, like that. Then that tells you the difference between public school and just like, you know, homeschool and like you were talking about wisdom and all that shit. To me, that is the greatest power, is wisdom. So yeah, but
I had a chemistry teacher who this is a quick little add-on to
yeah.
It took a while to stick, but he's like, you gotta learn it before you understand it. And I
Oh
just,
yeah.
Yes.
what the fuck?
What does that mean?
Yeah, because you're thinking that's the same thing. It's like, well, just know how to do it, and then eventually the understanding, the depth will come. But yeah. And so yeah, it's one of those funny, paradoxical, in my view, kind of surmations that's totally spot on. But yeah, let's continue with the rhetoric.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Look at her hair. Is she like trying to look like the mermaid or what?
Hey, say what you want about how dumb she
it.
is.
I'm not against it, but she looks like she's cosplaying.
She's all disheveled. It's all bushed in the water.
Yeah.
I love the kind of train wreck that Grace Randolph is.
I love the eye that goes into a business for itself.
I'm not. I know the name, but I'm not familiar with her. So yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Oh, she's great. Oh, you know, I got blocked on my Angus account by her because she was really after like some scoop she had or something about the Mandalorian season 2 and drama with Pedro Pascal and stuff.
Okay.
And like no one was buying it, and you know, because she'll get in these weird like tiffs with, like, she's really after James Gunn because she'll be like, I'm hearing this rumor, and he's like, no fucking way. Or he'll be like, I don't know who the hell that is. Like, and of course he can totally deflecting, but he's at the top of DC. He's making these decisions now. So
she's getting his attention.
She won't let him go. She won't, like, when she gets on something, she won't let it go.
Yeah.
And she's done this for like the Birds of Prey
writer
or director. Like,
dude.
you know, it's funny. Yeah, she's got
watching
these
that
internet
with my
spats.
daughter. I tried watching that with my daughter. She was like 10 or something at the time. And I'm like, we got halfway through it and we just never finished it. I don't know how to.
I actually, that's one of my favorite DC movies. I own Birds of Prey. I like it actually.
That's all fine, but like, you know, even
no, I know it's not great.
My daughter never went back and visited it, and that would be one of the first in the, you know, that'd be the first people that they're aiming at is like a teenager female. So at least I would assume.
You said teens. I think it's maybe
preteen.
You know, your daughter's still maybe in that like sort of a kid phase, not quite.
Between
it's a Galentine's Day film.
Yeah,
so it's like, has she had her heart broken? She, you know, fucking cried at a slumber party after a breakup with her girlfriends.
Right. Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
It's like she doesn't really. It's an adult female film of like,
that makes sense.
Some people say it's feminist, and I think partially, but I think it is just like, you know, there's plots like this in freaking Parks and Rec of like, I'm alone, so I'm with all my lonely single women friends that are over 30, and you know, we're fucking hit the wall and we hate life, and so screw Valentine, it's for the girl. That's a common modern sentiment in women. So I think it doesn't make for a great follow-up when you've had like, ooh, sexy Harley, and now you're trying to like, but you can't hide the sex of Margot Robbie. Her appeal, it's intrinsic to her. She is on the level for that character. I put her up there with Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr. as like, she is that character. She has left the mark.
Born for that role.
Yeah. You know,
and the other thing is, despite its amateurs and how they try to like fight the male gaze at every turn, there's some just fun humor there, and it feels like an amateur attempt at Tarantino. And I don't mean that as an insult. I am like, God, with all this corporatism and hive minds making these films or censoring it and restricting films, it felt like despite whatever, you know, pop PC culture, you know, influence is there, it just felt refreshing that like, this it's trying to have its own original voice and style. It's trying to.
How great would that be? I think the closest to that currently would be like that Eggers guy. Like, he's the only one making anything kind of unique and interesting.
Yeah, well, just watch. What was the last Marvel movie? Ant-Man. Watch Ant-Man, and then go watch Birds of Prey. I'm like, fuck, I'll watch this
Way
20
better.
times before I watch
Well,
Ant-Man.
Yeah,
have you guys ever heard of have you guys ever heard of the Bechdel test?
Remind me, what is it?
So the Bechdel test was invented by this angry lesbian cartoon comic book artist,
Fuck
something
yeah.
Bechdel, and she basically set it up so that there's this test that she performs on all media where it goes through a list of criteria, like if it doesn't meet this criteria, then obviously it fails her test. But it's like the criteria are things like must have several scenes where women are discussing something and they're not mentioning anything about a man. Women needs to be in power. She cannot be in the submissive state. Like all this stuff. Okay, that's the Bechdel test. And a lot of the modern stuff will either barely fail it or get real close to passing the Bechdel test. I have the Fiske test, and like that, right? Like no, because I've been burned so much. Like all of my hobbies have been set on fire and torched in front of me.
Wait. Have you whitened your name? Is your name Fiske?
Yeah, it's Fiske. It's
So-
not
so-
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's not, well, that was a joke. Because my roommate, who at the time he was a cheap bastard, and he was the big he lived up to every stereotype of Jewish stuff, and he was a mooch and a scumbag about that. I called it all the time. Like I called him Herschel, and like he called me Sheldon Fiskowitz. So I called him Herschel, and what his last name something Steen. But
Goldbergstein.
So when we were looking for an apartment together, we were looking through this one area, and I had my laptop open, and I'm like, oh my god, look at all of these. Look at all like the. By the way, the landlord was walking through the apartment with us at the time, so the three of us are in here, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, look at all of these open. Look at all these open Wi-Fi ports, dude. None of these are secure. We could hop on these. He's like, oh, dude, we should totally Herschel this instead of getting a line. And our landlord looks over at us. He goes, is Herschel a third tenant? I'm not understanding. My landlord's name was something Rodberg. So I'm like, shut up!
He made a Jewish joke.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a sense of humor.
No, he had no idea what we were talking about. So what are you talking about? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's our friend Herschel. Yeah.
Hilarious.
But yeah, I used to come home from work and he'd be sitting on my couch with his feet up on my coffee table, watching my big screen TV, using my computer, surfing the internet that I paid for with my wireless keyboard, going, oh man, dude, I'm totally saving money living with you.
Holy shit.
He's like looking at his bank statements on my computer on like a website or whatever.
Oh man.
And he's like, dude, I'm saving money. And I'm like, yeah, because you're a fucking mooch.
Oh, definitely. Holy
He was
shit.
a good guy, but like, yeah, he lived up to that. He lived up to. It's funny because everybody I know that was like either somewhat anti-Semitic or definitely not Jewish lived up to those stereotypes. And everybody I know that's Jewish don't live up to those stereotypes. I'm like, come on, guys, stereotypes exist for a reason. Why aren't you proving them right? What's going on here? You suck with money. You're terrible with math. You're a spendthrift. like all So I guess I live up to the stereotype though. But
See,
why,
there you go.
well, I mentioned the Fiske test because for me, like modern movies have this idea of putting women in these masculine roles and making them the basically the male power fantasy.
Yeah,
but they're women.
Toxic
and like that,
males.
Yeah, well, everything that they've ever accused men of being toxic masculinity or whatever, they themselves have put women in those roles. Women can do anything. They don't need no man. How is that interesting? What's her story arc? What's her character flaws? What does she grow from? Oh, nothing? Then why the fuck should I watch this? Failed the Fiske test.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they don't even do it well because I don't need a man. That's a bitch. That's a career bitch. That's a boss bitch. So if you show that struggle, that could be enjoyable.
Yeah, you want to root for the underdog.
That could be. It's like, wow, like she's stuck her nose to the grind, but then she sees her sister who got knocked up in high school, but she seems way happier living in poverty with some kids and a husband than the boss bitch just got a pen. It's funny. I don't know if I don't know much like real, not real, but mainstream comics y'all read, there's a woman I love, Merca Andolfo. She's got a really fun range of art style to her. She's mostly she always got sex appeal. There's always like horny to her storylines,
Whoa.
but it's not like it's
You
not like
have
Steven
my
Universe or
interest,
anything like that. Yeah, she's got a good artistic range. She's done some DC work for like Punchline and stuff, at least cover stuff.
Chris
she's
has
well-rounded.
Horny in his avatar, that's for sure.
But
like an egg.
she did this one story I started, I haven't finished. It was called Sweet Paprika, I want to say.
Ooh.
So it's about like this like demon chick that works at like corporate, and she's like a total boss bitch, but she's got all this money, got a nice penthouse and stuff, but then like she's just a lonely feminist.
Yeah.
And it's funny as fuck because I don't know her politics outside of like a couple social things. It's just funny that unintentionally her interesting, endearing story setup is like lamenting the feminist goals.
Yeah, well, feminism is.
You're gonna talk to her, right? You're gonna like go on a date with her, get her knocked up, make mistakes. Yeah, it's always fun.
No, like I was reading some studies that showed that now that we've seen multiple generations of third wave feminism inflicted upon women, we realize the kind of the full extent or the end game of what you know what does it actually evolve into. And a lot of these women are lamenting buying into feminism, and fewer than 30% of women actually consider themselves feminists in the United States, and that number's dropping. And the reason why is because we've watched now previous generations adopt into this. I want to be a corporate bitch. I want to be a corporate slave or whatever. Yeah. And what happens is they're robbed of their legacy, and they end up either getting beaten by third worlders in some nursing home, or they die alone in their houses. Like Japan has a problem with this with their men. They call it hikikomori, where the guys will just like, once they're done with their jobs, they retire and they have nobody around them anymore because they never built a family. They never built any kind of external relationships. So they just rot away in their house and then die alone, you know, amongst all their accumulated garbage. And unfortunately, women don't have and again, I know this sounds incredibly sexist what I'm about to say, but women tend
probably
to
true
not.
Then.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's the sad thing is I actually had a psychology teacher once tell me that was the most misogynistic paper you've ever written, but unfortunately I can't disprove any of it.
But it made me come. No,
but what it is women tend to not have long-term planning skills. There's actually a part of your brain that develops after you're in your 30s, and that's why children are terrible at saving and putting away for the future. And men have a better grasp of long-term planning. You know, they'll put away they'll put away the nuts for the winter, so to speak. And men will also adapt their lifestyle to suit their income. So men will be able to be like, hey, I used to be a 6-figure income or whatever, but I lost my job. I had to go get a new job flipping burgers or whatever. And they would adjust their entertainment budgets or whatever. And they'd be like, look, the most important thing on my list is I got a food and roof over my head.
Right.
Okay, so then Xbox subscription goes, Netflix subscription goes, all this shit. Women have very difficult times doing that.
Yeah.
They cannot,
winter is coming. Yeah.
They don't have that they're accustomed to a lifestyle. So they'll malfunction when they're forced to like degrade, and it's like the end of the world. It's like, bitch, you're still alive. Be happy.
Let's not forget about hypergamy. That makes complete sense if you know what hypergamy is.
Oh yeah, they're always monkey branching. But the problem though is
they're
that
always trying to reach forward, up.
Well,
I guess.
Up. Well, it lends itself terribly to when you're in your elder years, because as the hikikomori male will die amongst his hoarded collections. Yeah. More women over the age, like, you know how they say that the majority of homeless are men? The majority of female homeless are over 60. And there's a reason for that, because they've never planned for the future. They've never put away anything. They don't have that nest egg.
Taken care of by a man. Sure.
Well, they want the experiences. They want to go, like, they get $100,000, they'll go on a vacation somewhere instead of being like, how can I make this money work for me? You know? And it's really messed up, but it shows that when you put feminism into that mix and you destroy their legacy, they don't have any children. Like, children are your insurance plan, man. Like, when you're too old to defend yourself, when you're getting your ass beat by that third worlder at the nursing home, guess what? Your son or daughter's coming in and taking swings. They're going to get the lawyers on that. But or you won't even be in that home because they'll be taking care of you. But unfortunately, when you're a feminist, you don't have that. Your cats aren't going to do that. They're just going to eat your bloated corpse.
Fuck. All right. Let's go there, Chris. Shit.
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry, but that's what. And I have I actually have hope for Zoomers, because Gen Zoomers are seeing this now, and it's funny that feminists is a derogatory term.
The gamers are like sip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right,
Well,
so
like, I don't want to be a
guy
feminist.
as a man who has a Zoomer, I have a few Zoomers, right? And I will say that my oldest, she is 21, I think. I have a granddaughter, right? Like they are at least engaged. They are, they have a plan for the future, and I'm so happy that she had a baby early, like at 20, 21. That's terrific. Good for her. So because
Stony,
it's
says,
like,
I have hope. Well, you shouldn't. We are doomed as a species, not just as a species.
No, not even. I disagree. Maybe all right. So maybe this version of the power structure will collapse, or I think it's reforming into the multipolar world, and that basically will mean that there will be a hub, but America will not be the power center, right? They're going away from the power nation model, and it'll be more of the the world governance. Yeah, it'll be technocratic. So they'll come up with a bunch of legal jargon to set up a technocratic state where they have experts decide what happens. Like they tried this with the COOF shit. They're like, well, our experts tell you to go do these things, and if you don't do these things, then there are severe consequences. In fact, everybody will lose their livelihoods, and you can't see your relatives, and all these terrible things. Like, they flexed hard on all of us.
Oh, that's all authoritarianism. Yeah,
They flexed fucking hard, and it was all bullshit. And it's slowly coming out. But all the cattle, they're like, oh shit,
They're still wearing masks, dude.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about.
I don't like how you use that word.
Okay, livestock. How about that?
It's
because I will say
like
this.
A soft R.
I will say this. Let's take a trip. Let's take a trip down Stefan Molyneux Lane, and we'll talk about how civilization, the upper echelons, enslave the commoners. Like, you are.
Before you even go there, I just got this out there because, like, me and my friend Rookie, I finally got him to sit down and watch all of Game of Thrones, and we love it. Except, of course, the very last 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Last season.
No. The first 2 episodes are fucking point on Game of Thrones, moving pieces on the board, great stuff. And then Long Night happens, and it falls.
Long Night.
Anyway, it's funny because if you pay attention and aren't just sedating yourself with when's the swords happen, and really take in the show it's supposed to be. Even though I think the least worst option that George is presenting is democracy. Even though it's kind of becomes like an autocratic republic with Bran. I watched this, and it's like you kind of feel bad for everyone because it's like, actually, no, all these systems suck. Someone's getting fucked in every system, however equitable they're trying to be. I also watch Game of Thrones, and with that idea of governance, I think, actually, yeah, screw the common man. They're retarded. It should just be the top few echelon running. Like, Washington and Company, like that idea of like, well, sure, we'll have like rich white guys that own land that have interest in the policies made. They can vote.
And
I'm kind of
then
down for
deep
that
state
system.
happens. And then the state,
Sure.
the
There's
state
no
apparatus.
nothing works, but you look at the history of humanity. I think
I'm not disagreeing with you. Yeah. Well, and that's something I've had to come to terms with myself, is like I'm very much a individualist. I would not say you're wrong if you called me an anarchist, but I will say that like the libertarian model, for instance, they're like, well, we need free markets, but like let's think about where that term came from, and let's think about what that means. Essentially, we're talking without laws and governance. We're saying free
that's how you get mobs.
free human trafficking. Oh, we can't interfere because that would be a law, and we can't put any restrictions on the market because then it wouldn't be a free market. But yet that culture can slave trade. It's like I'm not really sure on that, because I really think that individuals should have their own sovereignty. But unfortunately, power
Should they? That's where I come in. I'm like, should they?
Power has its own ideas, right? Like power is like a pressure medium. Okay, so consider this: pressure can be applied with power, right? So you can center it on things, and without it, things go really bad. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris. What were you saying?
So I know it was supposed to be a parody of fascism, but the more especially the way that it was portrayed in the movie, like
of what
Robert Heinlein's perspective on the citizen and the civilian, in my opinion, is probably the best way to go, because it's the happy medium between the collectivism and the individual or the individual. Basically what it means is that everybody is guaranteed not to starve in the streets, or everybody's guaranteed that base level of, hey, if you wanted it, if you want to survive, we'll let you, but we're not going to force you. But if you want to vote, if you want to have a say in something, if you want to reproduce, if you want to own physical property, all that stuff, yeah, get in the military. You got to serve a year.
Right.
And the idea is that that's to give you responsibility. It's because you now have a stake in this. It's basically you're a stakeholder. And the reason why I argue for something like this,
offensive word, my guy.
Yeah, well, the reason why I argue for this is because I look at like what's happening to my dad, who's in his 70s. He's retired. Okay, he's living in a town where his property taxes keeps going up and up and up, and I'm like, why the hell is his taxes going up so high? Oh, that's right. His property taxes for the town that he's living in is going towards the schools that have imported a bunch of illegitimate single mothers who have 1,000 kids coming out of them like litters, and they get the same vote. Why are you, who are a taker, who haven't put anything into this, why do you have the same say as somebody like my dad who's paying for your freaking kids? You're a parasite. Dude. And I don't think that, like, it's not like you need to get rid of the parasite concept. You know what I mean? Don't give parasites power, or it'll infect the host.
Well, all right. So that's where
you want kids on welfare to starve, and it's like, yeah, because then they'll get a job.
That's where we're talking about, like, state interference, right? Like, that's the problem, in my opinion.
Yeah,
is that you have a lot of state governance. Like, I hear people around me say things like, oh, well, they need to increase that law. And it's like, you understand that if they increase that law, that it makes things worse.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get it. They're like, no, we need to get rid of guns, for instance. I'm like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So you're saying that I shouldn't be able to, like, that's clearly a person who's never been on Twitter and looked at self-defense videos or whatever, like just look at a woman who is now equal to a man because she has a fucking 30, a snub nose, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, can blow him in half because he tried to rape her.
Well,
yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's a real thing. Like, that happens every day, but you don't see it in the news. No, you see whatever, the quote media wants to show you. And although, you know, the show American Gods sucked overall, I will say their portrayal of media, I did like that, and I wish that they had expanded on it more. But yeah, like the media completely trains people, like they gamify people. They
manipulate them emotionally.
I mean, they're, you know, with like the Tavistock Institute or just in general, like, oh, I'll just give you flashy lights and now you're hypnotized. It's like, are you serious?
Dude, I
You
legit
you're
think
my
about
neighbor.
this.
Like my child is in our neighborhood and you're that susceptible to anything. Like that sucks, dude. Like I'm trying to get out of the city.
You know, it's funny because like I'm starting to watch Terminalist. I'm about, I guess, halfway through it. I don't know if you've watched it on Amazon.
Yeah, Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that is awesome.
It's funny because like I'm at this. However, I guess y'all have finished it. So I'm at the midway point
yeah.
where it's like, all right, the businessman that actually is like, oh, you know this, and I'm actually kind of in the dark, and so he's like putting the pieces together with her investigation. Then he gets sniped. Like I'm at that point in the show.
Okay.
And it's funny though because she like confronts him. It's like, if you're just gonna keep killing people, because he's like, they're not going to prison, you know.
Yeah.
And,
like, yes.
She's like, well, then this becomes, you're a terrorist, not their criminals.
Wrong.
And I think about that dilemma.
The Wild West was not wild for a
when
reason.
when the law ceases to protect its people, then it becomes irrelevant.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like the Wild West was not actually wild.
Well, what's the difference between a terrorist and a freedom
let me
fighter?
finish this thought real quick. So like the whole idea of the Wild West, right? A lot of that stuff was pushed during a time where the state was expanding, right? Like the state doesn't want you to think that, you know, personal reliability and individuality and sovereignty and all that shit is a good idea. They don't want you to do that because then you don't need them. Right? Like they want to build cities and they want to build systems and they want to make you have to be a part of those systems. And if you were looking at cowboys who are living rough on the land and surviving, and if you have an idea of the old West as actually don't fuck up, you know, the fuck around and find out metric was real in the old West, and nowadays it's not. And if you compare the two, I kind of like the fuck around and find out metric, you know?
Well, it's called consequence. That should be the greatest religion that we all follow. You know?
No, yeah, I like that because you're expanding on like loose little threads of ideas I've had about things like that. And this is why I get so annoyed with the conservative bullshit of
I can't
return. I hate it. Like I found this guy on Twitter who like is all about like old books and interesting thinkers, and it was like these summary thread posts. Well, he did one about Ted Kaczynski. I didn't know anything about the Unabomber, and it's like I read his whole thing, and I'm like, thanks. Now I love the Unabomber.
Yeah, dude, he's a victim, man. He was abused by the CIA.
I'm telling you, that's a meme, though. I really think that there is. Okay, so like the Q-tard thing is a real thing. Like these people believe that there are white hats in the government that are gonna just like help everybody, you know. And it's like, you know, Trump is the Messiah, and everybody's drinking.
I think Trump is a move in the right direction. He is a side effect of all the symptoms we've set on ourselves.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna argue against you or whatever. I'm just gonna say like the Q. I
don't think he's a savior. I just think he's like
no.
The Anon people.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were saying.
Yeah, the QAnon. Yeah, the QAnon stuff, the Q-tard stuff. It's like, oh, dude, you know, we got Hillary in the sewers. We're gonna arrest her any day. You know, like any day. Yeah, all this stuff. All you got to do is just wait. It's gonna come out in the end, and it's like that's not how any of this works.
Remember
like,
on Release the Kraken?
Calling for it. That is such a boomer fucking psyop.
Yeah. The conservative.
I can't talk, you know, people that I care about out of it. You know, and not a lot of them. Most of them turn into fucking blue tards, which is even worse than a Q-tard.
The problem in conservatism I see overall is there's like return. And it's like, dude, we're so industrial. This is why the Ted Kaczynski, like just the summary blurb really resonated with me. Because like he's talking about industrialization, modernization stuff. It's like you're not breaking this anytime soon. Like this shit has to collapse on its own way.
We don't have
It's
to.
not. There's no.
Let it do itself.
Yeah,
right,
we
right.
don't have
But
to do anything.
But yeah, how long will it sustain before it crumbles? Though, how conditioned are we going to become before the chains just rust off of us generationally? That's what I'm looking at. It's like there's no fixing this today, barring it's crazy because it's like I'm a vet. And I didn't join for like patriotism and 9/11. I just joined for a fucking job and to go shoot guns and stuff. Cool
the
stuff.
Benefits. Yeah.
But generally there is like, some sort of like wanting to like, yeah, I did something or worthwhile, or I stood for something. But then I see like the Taliban, it's like I'm kind of rooting for those guys now. Like, when everyone's like bemoaning, like, oh, the Taliban are learning our Blackhawks. I'm like, fucking good.
Yeah.
Good.
Did you ever see Rambo 3? Rambo 3, the Mujahideen were the good guys.
The saddest thing to ever happen to this country is the Berlin Wall falling and the Soviets falling with it. Because we have gone amok ever since then. We were already going that way, but that was a nail in the coffin for us. There's no competition.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit different on my viewpoint. I think that there is a cabal that is guiding a lot of these events. So I will put on my tinfoil hat, and you can trace it back. If I could cite books and all that shit, but nobody cares. You're either a conspiracy theory or not, right? Like you're either in the narrative or not. But
what's the track record for conspiracy theories now?
Pretty high.
Pretty high. The whole point is that right now, I think that they are going to try to make America not the power
again. That's what you're going to say.
They're not going to make America the power center of the earth, and that's not like Trump's not going to do it. Like, and I don't hate Trump. Don't get me wrong. I don't have TDS or anything. In fact, the only time I ever voted was for him, and I'll say this. I'll say that if he runs again, the whole point of his stuff will not be making America the empire that it was. It will be turning America into a self-sustaining national power,
an island.
And that sounds great until you consider the New World Order needs a multipolar world. And then you're like, oh, fuck, we wanted this, right? We consented to this. And that's how they will get all of us. And I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I am going to try to buy land outside of town. I'm going to raise chickens and goats and my children. And I'm going to do what every American should do is get the fuck out of the cities.
Yes.
And try to build community. Like a part of the indie scene is building community, and I completely respect that. I like it a lot. I completely agree with it. But there's also a whole parallel economy growing that a lot of people are not aware of, and that's fine because it'll come out eventually. But there are multiple parallel economies slowly growing. But in the future, it will be more prominent, and I think that Aldous Huxley, with his Brave New World book, was more accurate than any of the others. In as far as there will be a division, there will be the city plantations for the sophisticated,
the drugged up people,
and there will be the rural, right? Like just like in ancient, you're right, just like the pagans. It'll be just like Rome. Go back to Rome and look at Rome, and then just
not even that. Who is it that the left always, whenever they try to make a meme of dumb people, they always refer to like the rural
Southern,
the workers, the Southern,
demonize
white Christian Southern, whatever,
Even though those are the people that are grinding the gears that are making this machine work.
Yep.
Because it's not astute. Societal placement.
As somebody that's been looking at kind of business trends and the economic trends and what's happening, clearly there are foreign entities that have purchased certain entities in our government to sabotage, to collapse it. But what scares me the most is, even though I am a polyglot, I can speak multiple languages and everything. Fine, great. When the business world starts moving away from English as a standard language.
But does it get you laid?
No, it doesn't. But I don't care. But
Damn it.
But what's scary though is when you start, like, because I work with international coworkers, and a lot of them are Eastern European, Asian, whatever, and they all they're speaking English. They're doing me a favor. Well, what's going to happen when they don't do businesses favors anymore? Your kids are going to go apply for jobs. Lo siento, no hablo inglés. Or some other language, and it's going to turn into this fragmented market. Like the worst thing in the world is not being able to understand somebody, and that's by intention. That's why our country is being flooded by foreigners from the South that don't speak English, and they aren't encouraged to speak English. If you look at our history, my ancestors, everybody's ancestors that came over here, I had Korean ancestors, they didn't speak English when they came here. Guess what? They spoke English before they died. They were fluent in that language, and there's a reason for that. It's called assimilation. They don't want that. They want a fragmentation, divided we fall.
Right. Yeah. But the reason for assimilation was because of the power that the English language, like, if you don't know English across the world, you're going to have problems.
But it's going to be worse, though, when your kids or your grandkids are applying for jobs, and now they have to have 6 or 7 languages under their belt.
Well, that'll be able to go from It's like the ESG bullshit. Like, if you're not, if you don't have your penis removed, then you can't be hired or whatever. You know what I mean? It's gone insane. And I'm not like, I'm not hating on trans. I know trans people who before.
No, stop trying to justify your position. Just say it. Just say it. Well, we're talking about language. This is a problem. Is I have black friends. It's like, no. Just say it. Black people are destroying cities. You don't have to be like, I'm friends. I voted for Obama. I watched the NBA. No, this is what we're doing with the trans shit. Like, oh, they're fine. Like, no, there's a fucking million.
No. I
cut them out.
Let me clarify this then. The whole trans thing is less than 1%. Like, a lot less than 1%.
But
I know that in my own fucking life, in my experience of 3 years on Earth, I know that it's less than 1%. But I do know those people who have those problems with, like, am I this or that, or I want to be this, whatever. But the trend, that is more important. I have seen trends. I've seen
trans kids as a crime
in the early 90s dressing up like hippies. Right? You remember the hippie movement in the early 90s? And they tried to pretend they were all hippies again? Or how about all the cultural just like molding? Like, okay, this is what you wear. Like, all of those movies and all those stories that were funny and dumb and like, who cares about, they were fucking right. Okay? Like, Zoolander was a documentary. All right? Like, let's not forget that all that shit is fake and gay. I'm sorry, gray.
What is this, a school for ants?
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I digress.
No, I've talked about this recently with people where I'm like, this is probably one of the biggest problems is like using the language. Like,
yes, they design it. They have manuals on this shit where they invent the terminology, or they like, look at all the redefined words in the last 5 years alone. Just 5 years, because they're changing the rhetoric on purpose. And then listen to, like, go to Libs of TikTok or whatever you like, and listen to some asshole go on and on with all their word salad ideology. It's like, you're not making sense. But they are making sense, right? But they're not making any sense. Not really.
There is a good video I've seen. I don't know.
If I put that person on like a acre farm, right? Like, if I put them in my garden, they would be lost. They wouldn't know what to do. They'd be like, oh my God, the sun is so hot and my stockings are riding up. Like they have no idea how to survive. They don't know what real life
grocery
is.
Store.
And right now is the perfect time to cull. And that's what I see happening. I see a lot of culling coming.
The useless feeders.
Like I mean, they've told us for a couple decades now that there's too many people. Well,
I agree.
Who the fuck do you think they're going to get rid of? The people who are actually doing something, or the people that can be, the useless eaters?
The carbon they're trying to cut is you.
They call them the useless eaters.
Yep.
Like, come on, dude. Which one are you?
I'm
gonna go. I'm trying to get out of town. I'm trying to raise chickens.
It's funny because I've gotten into a herd share. I get one real thing I know for sure is I get real milk now. I pay $14 a week to help this farm so I can get real milk, because you can't just buy straight milk from anybody, like the whole government.
Right. Can't buy raw milk or whatever.
Can't buy raw milk. So I have to have a stake, wink, wink, to the herd.
Yeah,
And
the
so
FDA, the ones who approved the jabs, said that you can't have all the bacteria, the natural bacteria that is in milk. Yeah,
right.
From
it's
a
like,
cow.
No, I need it burn off.
The thing
and
that
watered
probably built the human brain and created civilization, you're not allowed to have it. In fact, you should stop eating meat as well. It's like, what is going on? Are we? Is this a joke? I don't understand.
So yeah, I've woken up a little bit on this, where it's like now I'm starting to look into within my life now.
I've been at this for like a decade, so yes, I understand. Good for you.
Well, I've always been right leaning. I went through like growing up.
Didn't even know what that meant.
Small town Oklahoma, and before it was like, all right, college would be like whatever value I bring to the table. There's going to be people from all sorts of walks of life that we can all apply ourselves to a new answer, or we'll have the same answer in different ways, like math, for instance. Yeah, that was what college is supposed to be, instead of like where we're at now. But
the melting.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town and isolated, and then I go to college and then the army and get rounded, and I get a bit more liberalized, and then I have a family. I get into school again, and I am on the right because of just like reality. I think reality and actually having life generally puts you
having children
more right.
Rearranges your DNA.
Yeah. And
like that's not like me just saying that. That's an actual thing that you can look up. Having a child rearranges your epigenetics.
Yeah. And it's just funny. So yeah, every day I was just more and more getting I don't know if I'm doomer pilled now in some ways politically. Like,
don't be doomer. Be white.
I'm not doomer, but I definitely don't have hope. I just was it Monty Python?
I don't like the word hope.
Is it Monty Python or
I love Superman, but I hate the word hope.
There's that scene in one of those movies where it's like like I don't give a fuck who's king. Is this going to be different? Like I'm just a peasant, and it's like that's I kind of
who elected you? Some watery tot throws a sword at you. I help people being repressed.
Yeah.
I think
what makes you king?
That's the biggest reality. That's the biggest political reality in my view. Is that like?
But that's
it really doesn't matter.
That's what our ancestors have fought for throughout all of existence. Is individual sovereignty, and that is something that I believe that is the golden lesson from the effort of the Constitution. Is like that is built on all of this philosophy, is built on all of this progression. I guess you could say. I can't even say it normally. All this progression is to get to the point where government is not telling everybody to go fucking die in a hail of bullets, right? Like it is individual sovereignty. So like you fucking matter. Okay, you're trans or whatever. Fine, you matter. That's fine. But don't try to force all of your, like don't put me in a category. The biggest problem that I have found lately is like everybody's got to be in a category, and it feeds
that's Marxism.
It feeds of course it feeds the polarization. The polarization is if you're not with me, you're against me, right? Like the old Anakin.
I kind of like that because it's
it's division. That's what they call diversity.
It just people now have more.
I'm not saying it doesn't have
outright
merit.
identifiers to like, I don't want to be around you. When the
Anybody
chips are
that's ever
down,
observed,
when the chips are down, you're going to try to get the government with a gun in my face to do what you want. So it's like, I'm glad we're more adversarial because now it's now you're giving me more signs of like who to not be friend, who not to waste my energy.
Really? But that's by intention. Yep. I mean, the thing is anybody that's observed animals, okay, human beings are animals. And it's absolute arrogance to think that we're anything more than animals. Sure, we have a higher functioning brain, but at our base levels, we still have the same psychological reactions to things.
Well, I'm not Catholic, so I think animals are better than not living.
well, here's the thing, though, is like if you've ever worked on a farm and you've thrown a white chicken into a flock of black chickens, it's not a pretty sight. That white chicken is just blood and feathers in seconds. But
wow, you're describing my elementary experience after I moved.
but like there's like diversity is not a good thing. Natural diversity will eventually happen because of global because you can travel anywhere in the world in less than 48 hours. Like it's a natural thing. It'll happen, so on, and the world will become beige. It'll be just like the first Mass
That's
Effect.
Not true. And I disagree. But go ahead.
The reason why I say that though is I'm not saying it's going to happen now. It's not going to happen in my lifetime. It's not naturally going to happen in your grandkids' lifetime. But eventually, humanity will become a hot, it'll become a mixed bowl. I mean, I'm a mixed kid. I'm a mixed person. I got a bunch of shit in me. And most people do. Most people are not like 100% something. But the thing is, though, is we're seeing an artificiality to it now. We're seeing intentional conflict coming about, and as a result, people are naturally pulling away. This is a subconscious
intentional mixing, intentional combining.
No. Well, they're forcing this diversity. Diversity is not a good thing because
what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yeah. Diversity in its natural state is something that is like a revolution. Is a evolution, not a revolution. Okay, it's something that takes a long time.
Term evolution, but continue.
But what's happening now is we're seeing something that's artificially forced, and we're seeing a natural reaction to it. Yeah. We're watching cultures vanish. We're watching entire there's unnecessary conflict being foisted upon people, and now like you're talking about the groups and stuff. Yeah. If diversity worked, there wouldn't be such a thing as Chinatown. Okay, I'm just saying. If people assimilated and got together, we should be focusing on our similarities. The moment you start focusing on your differences, you are creating conflict. Okay, you could be joking around, like I just said. My roommate, the mooch, the guy that hated Jews and stuff. We were good friends because we had a lot of other things in common. He's a good guy. He's a mooch.
He hated Jews.
Oh yeah. He didn't know I was Jewish, and when we were playing World of Warcraft, he goes, "Hey, Fish, I got a new class idea for you." I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're into game design. How about we do a class where you could do the Jew class? I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, it looks just like the dwarf. Get that huge nose in there. Yeah. And his racial ability is whenever a treasure chest is open, he can do a rogue sprint to it and get to the treasure before anyone else. And he thought it was the funniest thing ever. And I just had this look on my face like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, and then, first of all, that's a bad joke. He can sprint to it. No, it's got to be that he can get better deals in trading. That is funnier. Even you laughed. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's I don't take that shit seriously. When I see actions, if somebody would have freaking destroy the mezuzah on my door or freaking carve up a spot, then I'm going to start getting a little upset. But
directed at you, sure.
Yeah, if you I actually had an ex-girlfriend. The first time I ever actually experienced full-on anti-Semitism was I had an ex-girlfriend. Yeah, I've heard the jokes my whole life. It was one of those things where I had friends like a lot of times they would say oh, I got Jewed out of this. I'm like, you got what? and whatever. They just didn't know. I was like a day walker. They were just,
Right.
I was just kind of like, whatever.
You didn't know that the Jews have been kicked out of 109 countries. That's fine.
but like it never made me feel like scared. Right. And when my ex, who was a Peruvian, she was looking through my Facebook one day and she sees my nephew and he's hanging out and he's
you like him dark.
No, well, he's got it. No, she was actually very light. Peruvians are light.
Really?
But yeah, and
I assume South American, but continue.
Yeah, well, she was gorgeous, man. But she's looking through my Facebook and she sees my nephew and he's sitting at the dining room table and there's a menorah in front of him. And he was all like, yeah, And she goes, oh my God. I'm like, what? She's like, why is your nephew in front of that Jew candle? And I was like, oh, you mean the menorah? And she like, it was like, yeah. As soon as I said, oh, you mean the menorah? It was like all the air got let out of the room. And she goes,
oh shit.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. She's like, oh my God. Please don't tell me I'm dating a Jew.
But
like,
wait a minute. But wait.
Problem?
Is that because? Yeah. Wait a minute. Is that no? All right. So, but consider this: is it because she's South American and all the Nazis moved to South America after the war?
Possibly. That's probably why she was whiter than me.
Like, did she have blue eyes? And
yes, she did.
Dark skin.
She had lighter skin, dark brown hair, and like silvery blue eyes.
Yeah.
And
Hitler had dark hair, but
yeah, he did.
That's a whole nother conversation about what his mom did.
Dude, it was just so eerie because I'm like what? And then she's like looking at me all weird and stuff, and she's like, I gotta go. And she left. I ended up she dumped my ass like probably about a week later on the phone of all places.
Whoa.
And I was just like, like I was seriously bummed out. I'm like, so that's what anti-Semitism is. Like I guess I'm grateful that it took me until my 30s to actually experience like what I've heard, because like my grandfather, slept in the basement for the rest of his life because he'd wake up at 3 a.m. screaming because of all of the trauma that he endured in World War II. He was on the beaches, they fled France, man. So I've always heard it as, oh, well, that was something that was in the past. We don't have to worry about it anymore. But it's still there. But it's not to the degree that you see all the Bolsheviks in our media pushing, like
the 30s to see it. And that's my thing. Like, I don't know. I have a friend who he's a longtime friend now, I guess 20 years or something. Black guy. He's on he's on my table, like my tabletop game and all that stuff. And
does he play Muhammad?
He does not actually. The guy that played Muhammad was a little Irish kid, but which is hilarious. But no, he he's like a 90s liberal. I guess I would, like he considers himself a feminist and all this stuff. And I don't know. It's like he's kind of out of touch on some of the politics that is current day. It's like, sure, back in the 90s, it sounded cool. Oh yeah, women should be, strong and all this stuff. But like now it's not that. Now it's anti-woman, and I'm not sure that he's aware of how anti-woman the term feminist really is. Or not only just anti-woman, but anti-family,
Yep.
It's like, man, so like my girlfriend, she would watch Ellen. Right? Like she was watch Ellen when we first got together about 10 years ago, whatever it was. She would watch Ellen and I'm like, whatever, we didn't talk politics. And then it was that Ricky fucking Gervais Oscars or whatever it was, where she kind of got red pilled. And not necessarily what he said, but it was actually what that blonde bitch said when she's holding the Oscar and she's like, yeah, all my abortions helped me get this statue, and my girlfriend's like, what? Did she just credit like having abortions so that she could have a fucking statue? What is that? And then it was like, now she watches everything, all the conservative shit, right? And it's just so funny because it's like, how is it that somebody can stay like informed and still think that whatever's being pushed as quote unquote liberal, because like I consider myself a pretty liberal guy. Like, how is it that some of the people that consider themselves quote unquote liberal are still that way? Like, how do you not see the absolute fucking clown show that is government right now? And then, like I don't get it. And I don't consider myself, I know I voted for Trump, and I don't consider myself a jingo, right? Like I'm not a nationalist necessarily, but at the same time, I want somebody who's not going to just sell us all away. Like if you look back at it, Bush sold us away, Obama, Clinton, before NAFTA, yeah, like that was one. And then Bush Senior. Like that dude was a fucking lich, dude. Like talk about fantasy terms. That asshole, man. I think that he was on borrowed time when he was the president. That dude looked. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I feel bad because we got like Grace Randolph on our screen now for like 40 minutes. We're going off about like government garbage. But, yeah, right. I was always pretty left leaning my whole life,
Sure.
As far like the gay stuff never bothered me. Hell, I had a gay roommate, never bothered me. Like the whole like. And here's the thing: is when I say this again after I just went on that big tirade that was pretty quote unquote misogynist. Like I'm all for equal opportunity. Like if a woman can do the job, then I don't see why anybody should stop her.
I don't see that either. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about meritism? Can we have some meritocracy again?
Yeah. Yeah, like honestly, if a woman can do a job better than a man at something, if you're not hiring her expressly because she's a woman, dude, I'm going to be on her side fighting.
Dude, I work in a giant corporation, and most of the women, 95% or 99% of them, are HR.
Yep. Oh, yeah, they've invaded HR, dude. You got like the feminists in HR.
So secretary is offensive, but now you're all in HR, and now we all have to listen to your fucking bullshit. Of inclusion and diversity.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's like, get real, dude. How about that child you had, that child you bore fucking 4 months ago? How about you go home? How about you take off your shoes, you go make some food and take care of your child, and instead of being here making everything retarded, bureaucratic.
No, that's part of the poison pill, though. That's part of the poison pill of feminism.
Yes.
Is that they told women that you can do it all. And you can't. I mean,
for tax money. They wanted the fucking tax money.
They wanted to get another taxable demographic. And when they saw in World War II...
Can't say that. That's misogynist if you say that.
But
yeah.
Honestly, like again, these are lessons we're learning now from when the boomers are dying. And they're like, they're living lives of regret pursuing feminism because they were in it. They were in it from the beginning of third wave feminism. Yeah. And they're like, I have no legacy.
And where's Gen X? What happened to Gen X? We keep hearing about, Gen X is sipping wine in the corner while the boomers and, Gen whatever fucking fight. Like, okay. Or the millennials and boomers fight. Fine. But where the fuck is Gen X? I had to put up with your goddamn, your grunge music and all that. We're bringing back hippies. Okay.
Oh God, the 90s, yeah.
Let's not forget that fucking the first time they did it 30 years earlier was a goddamn psyop to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, if you think that the communists didn't win, and the Nazi, and by communists and Nazis, I'm just saying the state, right? Like these state institutions won World War II. Like,
oh yeah,
the America never should have went into World War I, let alone World War II. But yet, the state grew. Woodrow Wilson, going forward, Roosevelt, just expanded the state and made it not America. And that's 100 years ago. And now here we are living in that society. What they left us with all their goddamn oh, well, we're gonna make new rules for all this stuff. We're going to put new rules on gold. We're gonna put in fiat currency, and we're going to make sure that everybody who has who's born a citizen can be borrowed against.
Oh yeah. Nobody talks about that one.
Yeah, what is going on, dude? Are we not free men and women?
No.
Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about, but no, you're not. What is up, GT Beck one?
Hey.
What's up, dude?
It was funny earlier. Let me find it. Sorry, I just gotta say this tweet to look at later. All right, where did it go? All right, this is from Internet Hall of Fame. There's one I thought was really good. We were talking about women earlier, and like it's easy to go like, women posting or else. But it's like, yeah, I actually really feels bad for women. In the modern day. So it says, a guy wrote to me on Tinder calling me quite the catch because I like nachos and it's always sunny. So I wrote back saying, well, if you're impressed by that, you should see my tits. And he unmatched me. I literally have no idea what men want. And it's like, yeah, honestly, given the parameters, everything, being a guy, it's like, I like tits. And it's like, I would not think to unmatch a girl because like, oh, you like my, because I could just, in today's context, you might think, oh, she's probably got an OnlyFans if she's talking, but it's like, maybe she's trying to be like chummy and like, oh, well, I have titties.
Yeah, but everywhere. Other women ruined it for her.
No, she should be pissed everywhere. If she'll share your tits after like 1 or 2 emails, are you serious? Like, all right, why are we not already?
Well, no, but if it was a joke, though, if she was just joking around, because it's. Like I got.
You have no context about if she's an OnlyFans thought or if she's
she's just joking,
inventing like, oh my god, like I do this and I can't get a guy. It's like what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like I totally get that plight.
I blame other women. I blame all the OnlyFans thoughts that did it because like honestly, like I have a friend that's in his early 30s now and he's still in the dating pool. Like I gave up on that shit decades ago, but he's still in there and he's like. The majority of women on those dating apps are like they're e-thought bots. So they're like you'll like get enticed into this conversation. They're like, "Hey, what's up?" or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, here's my OnlyFans link." And it's like, "What? I'm trying to date you, not be a freaking PayPal simp."
That's not even the worst of the internet dating scene. So the worst
the free meals
was again, I'll bring up the name Stefan Molyneux. He talked about this a decade ago. He talked about how the highest sexual market value males will get the most females to them, and so the average. So then the average will lose out, and that compounds over time. And so that's what we see today, where there's like, oh my god, everybody's a fucking incel. It's like, well, actually, if your fucking horny ass didn't try to, screw anything that would talk to you, and you try to find a decent man, maybe this wouldn't be a problem. But here we are.
Do you ever see that
blaming women, but they had a lot to do with it.
Have you ever seen that whatever podcast or whatever the one with like Grobthar?
I was just watching it last night. Rolo was on there.
So the guy that was giving, I just recently watched one, and it's a really great like insight into a lot of the female psyche
to reality right now.
Well, he goes in there, and like there were some pretty gorgeous women on his panel.
Yeah,
and they're like. His previous panel had some absolutely disgusting women like that trans Grobthar the Destroyer, and they're all like, "Yeah, I'm a chan." It's like, dude, you're a bag of shit. Like, you're not. You're not even fucking
honestly, from the clip I saw, the Gigantor, trans. Honestly, that one was, sure, it's like trans delusion, whatever, and LARPing or trans trenders. You can make that argument all you want, and that is like the instant reaction takeaway. But honestly, watching that clip, being introspective, it's like honestly, this woman, quote unquote, is more feminine and friendly than all the biological women.
They're all entitled.
It's like honestly, besides that argument, like I think the like kind of overzealous Christian guy could have a good time at the bar with with what is the name everyone's calling her?
Grobdog, the World Destroyer or whatever.
Yeah, what is that from?
I have no idea. I just think it's hilarious because somebody superimposed Jabba's voice. But it was,
that clip. It was like, I'm this and that, and I have an iPhone, and I'm 22, and then it's like that one starts on. It's like he chuka.
but like the point though is like these women all said that they were 10s, okay, and then in this current episode that I watched today, they turned it on the guy, the dude. He's at the the guy behind the mic, and they're like, "So what do you think you are?" You know, like because like one of the girls that was with him was like, you know, we're making fun of these women who are delusional and think they're fucking 10s and shit. What do you think you are? And the guy goes, I would probably say I'm about a 6, maybe. And they all tore in. They're like, well, why do you think you're above average? If 5 is an average, like. What would place you above average? And I'm looking at
a very successful podcast.
Yeah, I'm looking at the dude and everything.
He's got all these hot women validating him by coming to his show.
This is where it got freaking like soul destroying. This shows you how fetid the minds are of today's women is, or at least in the dating like market. They instantly, as soon as he said 6, they instantly jumped to tearing him down. Like, well, why do you think you're a 6? You know, and it's like. That's not a delusional number. Like you could be a 1 or 2 point error, you know, margin of error or whatever.
They're too dumb to think of that.
Yeah, I'm looking at this guy. You know, they're like, "Well, you got all upset when girls were saying they're 10." It's like, yeah, not because they got it wrong, but because they got it really wrong. You know, it's the difference between saying I think I'm a 6 when you're really a 4, than I think I'm a 10 and you're really a 2. You know, and like they tore into this guy and they ended up telling him that he's about a 3 or a 4. And I'm looking at this guy going, I'm not gay or anything.
The only thing that makes me more than a 4 is my height.
I look at this guy and I'm like, I'm not gay or anything. But if I had demonic possession, I would get mad tail jumping in that dude's body. Because he's easily a 6. Like, I think that was a perfect assessment for him because he's young, he's in good shape, he's over 6 feet. He's got the freaking Metro beard shit, dude. I can't grow facial hair. Thanks, Hebrew Korean.
It's all the triangle, dude.
He's got the full
shoulders and smaller hair.
Yeah, and the full head of hair, like the whole shebang. Like he's a good looking dude. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And they're like, no, you're just a 4. I'm like, if you think that's a 4, I might as well just fucking punch out, man, because I'm not even a 1. You know, compared to that.
That's the online dating game. That shit fucked everything up. They're like, well, I can be a 6 and a 10 will fuck me on the side. And so I don't have to pursue anything in my range because I can just be a throwaway whore and get what I want. And that's exactly what we've seen. Prove me wrong.
Like you have women now that are making $5 million a year just doing stupid little dances on TikTok, okay? Yep. And OnlyFans or whatever. You have guys that work for the oil company. And by the way,
dear God, no, Chris, no, God.
Oil company.
I saw this fucking video.
This argument. Let me hear the argument.
God. Okay, Chris. Oh, I get. Yeah, so you're gonna say, but fuck, I have.
We're placing more value on a tart that dances than a people that make this country move.
Okay.
All right. I hate this argument because this extreme comparison is extreme. It just shows that everyone is a communist. Well, deep down, because it's the same as the fucking the soldier makes 50,000 and the NFL guy catches balls for 20 million. And it's like, so do you want to pay $1 million salary per soldier with your taxes? And then the incident, no, taxation's theft. And it's like, well, shut the fuck up.
Well, we obviously, but the problem though is we've conditioned men because we've taken them out of the sexual market to be pay pig simps. like you've created that market.
This has always been the case. Market. Women have always had the upper hand.
Yeah, well, no, they did until feminism.
The counter though is that men were power.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We've always gone along with. We've always gone along with the evolutionarily We can see it in our cousins, the chimps, the bonobos, the grills. However social or however solitary each of these societies are, they're all patriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
we
show me
are
one
simian.
matriarchal
We are meant to be
civilization.
patriarchal like the chimps. The chimps are probably the closest comparison sociologically when you think about our animal selves. And
Yeah,
they love science until you point out like the patriarchy of human nature of our animal selves.
well,
You just point
yeah,
out
show me one civilization that was run by women that still survives today. I can't name one.
No, I totally agree. But I think, yeah, we've had checks and balances, but women have always had value. There's a reason you've never heard
it's the oldest profession in the
world. You've never
world.
heard of war husbands. But what I was saying, even though I wasn't really thinking about the sexual dimorphism to this argument specifically, of like, look how easy it is for women if they're hot or even mid and they have any kind of personality, they can sell their bodies on OnlyFans, Patreon, etc. But that is a fleeting thing. Maybe they get 15 years out of it.
Well, this is where the karmic realignment kicks in. Because remember how I mentioned earlier how these women have poor planning skills because that part of their brain isn't developed. Well, no, it isn't, because that part of your brain doesn't develop until you're out of your 20s.
I'm sure you thought this very, very well through.
Well, the problem though is these women who are making all of this money, that are freaking making the $5 million and getting, all this shit. By the time they hit the wall, they're fucked because they pissed all of that money away. They've never squirreled it away because they don't understand that neoteny, that youthful sexiness trump card that they have in their 20s and possibly into their 30s. And if they're in really good shape, possibly into their 40s, that's going to expire, and it has a fast appreciation from.
Yeah, it's called the wall. Yeah. Not only that,
undefeated, by the way.
Yep, undefeated.
The wall. It's a real thing. It's a wall.
But they've never saved all that money. You know what I mean? Like I want to spend it.
Now, one person told them about the wall. Not only that, but they never tell them that they only have so many eggs and they're only good for so long.
Yep. Yeah,
but
these mothers in their 40s, good God.
Unfortunately, this will be like by the time I have great grandkids, maybe this will get adjusted from the long-term effects of the collapse. Like if everything just is able to sustain generally for Western industrialized civilization,
the empire is over. But yeah,
it's going to take until at least great grandchildren for society to counter this problem. Because like look at China with sex. 70s they institute the single child policy. Now it's cultural. Now it's not even government enforced. Now the government is trying to incentivize people to have children, and it's so culturally ingrained now. They're like, ew, more than one child? What am I, a selfish American?
Yeah, what would I do with myself?
And so they've been over. Now they're having to import wives from Vietnam. All their Mexicans, all their unwanteds, the lesser Asians. Now they're having to import them for wives. And long term, that's going to divert money to those poorer countries because the women are sending it to their families back home.
Oh yeah, you don't marry
all
them.
The incels in America, all the white incels or whatever, who are buying Asian women as wives, hopefully, and so then the IQ will be raised, and then society will be better.
What are you talking about? They're buying, dude. They're buying all the wives
Asian
from Africa.
wives is a real thing.
Well, unfortunately, what happens is as soon as you import somebody from another culture, especially they become, and I've heard because before I got into video game development, I was actually looking into teach ESL, English as a second language. I learned Tagalog, which is the language of the Philippines. And God, I'm so grateful that I've met a lot of good Filipinos out there that were like, dude, don't stay away from that. That's a trap. That is a trap. That is a green card hunter.
You can't import a wife to affluence like this country with all the
they're evil, dude. Like if you want to see somebody who doesn't have a soul, go marry a mail order bride from Asia or Russia. Like they will step over your corpse and steal your credit card without their pulse ever raising a beat. They don't care about you. You are just a financial gain for them.
All right. So there was this mockumentary, right? And then it was about like these mail order brides. And I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately. I'm sure it's easy to find.
I think
Birthday Girl?
I don't know, but this is one dude. He's a funny guy. This was the first time I saw him, but I saw him other shit afterwards. Anyways, he orders this Asian chick, and she's all nice and everything at first, and then
she gets her papers. She runs off.
She's just a fucking tiger mom after that, dude. Like she's all about like telling him what to do, and you can't do that. You have to do this, and you're not. This is not the level of standards I was, I was expecting, and all this other stuff. I was like, oh man,
Yep.
poor guy. Yeah, I assume that's supposed to be satire. I assume that is probably a real thing. And,
well, satire is probably on men. That was probably the angle.
Right.
Well, I heard this one story.
Wife,
yeah. No, dude, I heard this one horror story when I was learning ESL. Was there was this one guy who married this girl from, it was either Laos or Cambodia or something. Married her, went over there, married her, came back or whatever, and she's like, oh well, I've got family, in the United States, and I want to fly and visit them or whatever. And it turns out that she had about 4 other husbands, American husbands. Jeez. And she was flying, totally against the law or whatever, but she was flying around them. And when this guy hired a private investigator to find out why she was, he was like, dude, like milking my credit cards, like flying to this Minnesota. I live in Florida. What the hell is this Minnesota shit, And it turned out that like when the jig was up and the PI's like, dude, we followed her. She's got like 4 other husbands, blah, 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 blah. This is how fucked up our feminized society has become. Oh, he hit me. He got guns. He dangerous. So the police arrested him, took all of his firearms, and then she emptied all of his credit cards and then filed for divorce.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why you don't bring foreign animals into the domestics. So, yeah, and this was the story that a Filipina girl told me.
All right.
And she's like, dude, it's scary out there. Don't do this shit. I care about you. I don't want to see you screwed up like this. And she was a lesbian, so.
Anybody watching this, okay, you have to back Chris's Infinitel Chronicles so that he doesn't end up in this situation, okay? We need you to do that so then he can get a good girl and not...
I got high money. I get number 1 Asian big boob.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Like Big Daddy.
It's been 2 hours. I've had a lot of fun. I definitely want to have him on.
Well, we meant to look at Grace Randolph, but we looked at Grace Randolph for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, sorry, but no, I've really enjoyed having you on. I hope your comic has continued success. Hope we get number 3.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have backed it, even though I only did digital. I'm trying to
Oh,
make my own comic, so I got to be restrained.
No, that's fine. I plan on launching the second one later this year, maybe the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but no, I'm interested, especially Tony. But I definitely have you on as a guest in the future because
for sure. Let's hang out,
you're not just like Hulk number 237, and unfortunately, comic people can be that bad. Yeah, it's like fuck.
Well, I want to say if anybody's still fucking watching, I have my own channel. I center on fantasy genre, tabletop indie guys, podcasting indie guys, comic indie guys, Iron Age. I talk to all those guys. So if anybody is interested in what is going on in indie, then come hang out. And I'm changing formats after I ran my campaign and all that shit. I kind of saw how other people did things, and I kind of thought about how I wanted to do things. And so I'm going to try something a little different. I'm not going to say that it's the best or that it's going to be what I'm going to, do forever. But we're going to hang out on Thursdays now, maybe some other days, but mostly Thursdays, me and Chris. And we're going to have a couple of guests on at a time instead of like one at a time and all this other stuff.
What is your channel?
Just put in YouTube in the search bar, put in Immortal Rising comic book. Do the full Immortal Rising comic book, because otherwise it goes to like Immortal Rising Phoenix or some shit, some video game. Okay. So just do Immortal Rising comic book. You'll find me on Twitter. You'll find me on YouTube. I think I'm on Instagram, but I'm never on Instagram. So, but yeah, just like, and then of course on Indiegogo, Immortal Rising comic book, and that's where you'll find it. $20 for a physical copy plus a digital. So, and that's just the beginning. You can a la carte all the cards, all the posters, all that shit. So, and please do, because damn it, I want to be here for a minute. I want to get past 3 of them. My plan was 3. I want to get past 3. So please help me.
Yeah. No, this looks good. Normally, yeah, the art style isn't my forte, but talking with you, I'm very, I definitely look past art for my preference, and this one looks like actually enjoyable.
Yeah, thank you. It's good. You'll like it. There's a lot going on. We didn't really talk about a whole lot, but like I approached the story as like a fantasy novel. And so like the narrator is its own character as well, at least in the first 2. And then in the third one, you get the idea. So I kind of leave off the exposition through narration and all that stuff. And not only that, but like, so like speaking of exposition, I tried to balance it well. Like I try to put it in scenes and make it, all that stuff. Cause like there's a lot of nerds out there who love their exposition and world building and lore and all that shit. Well, this is based in a campaign setting that's like 30 years old. All these characters that are in this book, I already know what happens. So,
great spoilers.
It's not just it's not a one-off. What I'm saying is like this is not a one and done. Like I'm going to be here for a little bit and get in early right now. So,
hell yes. I can't wait to dig into your channel some, probably while I'm working. And I'm glad you mentioned the Stephen Molyneux guy, because I'm looking at his wiki, and it's
Stefan is great.
Irish-born Canadian, far-right, white nationalist, white supremacist podcaster who promotes conspiracy theories, scientific racism, men's rights, and racist views. Like, all right, I love all of this.
Also, he hates women. So add that as well.
Hell yeah.
Especially single moms. So he's definitely a piece of shit, and you should definitely listen to him.
This sounds great. So yeah, you've opened up a new can of worms for me.
Hey, actually, if you're seriously gonna look up shit that I recommend, look up Grand Theft World. That's a great one. They do a lot of news. They also talk about like they're one of the hosts considers himself a forensic historian. So all the news topics
Richard Grove.
Richard Grove, and they try to reach back into historical lessons and all that shit. And then his co-host is I think it's a logic professor. So all that plays together, and it's really good. I like it. So
United Nations of Epstein. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's probably real. I haven't heard. They just it's a weekly show, and it's about like 6 or 7 hours long every week. But they hit all the major topics of the previous week in a different way than you're going to find anywhere else. So
yeah, no, I'm open to that. Although given some of these thumbnails, I'm expecting like there's this guy at work that he like gets in this weird, like he's wearing like a I'm a Taurus. He's wearing like an Aries medal, but then he's wearing Saint Michael. But he's not. I don't think he's Catholic. I mean, he's like talking about like Jesus and like, oh yeah, the Zodiac's got 12 signs and Aries is the sun and this that, and then Jesus and the crown of thorns around the sun. And see, all this adds up, and it's like this sounds stupid as fuck.
Yeah. No, he probably watched some video on YouTube and thinks that he's like he saw some occult secrets. But if you ask him any metaphysical question, he will be dumbfounded. So I wouldn't.
Well, it's funny because we were talking. I never really talked to him like deep before. It's just he's on a different line, and we're talking about this religious stuff, and it's like, oh no, I'm pretty firm in my atheistic worldview. It's like, no, there's no fucking aliens. I think we're the first aliens. I think we're screaming to the void. But yeah, I think there's other planets with life. But I think given how hard it is to even cross like rat level of intelligence, it seems, I think we're alone. Whether there's actually been other aliens before, I think we're alone. I think we just have the intelligence. We're screaming to the void. We're screaming for someone like ourselves that's not there. And we'll probably die out before we ever have the ingenuity to meet them when they come. And,
that may be.
So that's my view. I love aliens. I love sci-fi, but yeah, I think that's how I look at it. And then you apply it with like God stuff and everything, and it's like, no, it's all, there's fractions of good insight, good world.
Well, I really think that the most people have zero training in metaphysics, and they don't understand just like the most of our culture is based on metaphysical ideas, or I should say all of it, I guess you could say. And the average person has no idea the history of the metaphysics that they use every day and that they used to think with every day. And that's the problem, is that they used to think it. Like all these people who consider themselves Marxists. Oh, I'm a Marxist atheist and collectivist. Guess what, asshole? That's Platonist. Yeah, that means that you believe in higher forms. You believe in classism. You believe in all these different categories, because that's all Platonist. And if you trace it back through philosophy, you can easily find yourself back into the realms of Plato. And they'll deny Plato and Western philosophy, even though they espouse it wholeheartely.
No, it's funny you're saying, because it's like I need to dig into all this more, but it's like I go to the store and I know I'm like, I work a blue collar job. I'm lower middle class at best economically, but I think there's a mindset,
It is a mindset.
And I go to the store, I'm at like Ollie's, which is, fucking closeouts, bankruptcies of other businesses.
I like
it's all their bulk. Yeah, Ollie's cool. You don't know what you'll find there, but yeah, but you think of like retail workers for Ollie's, and it's just like, pores. I've definitely become more and more classicist the older I get. The more I'm like, no, I did. Certain people, I'm just like, you're beneath me.
Nah. Well, that's up to you. I mean, I don't know. I understand where you're coming from, but
I'm striving for something. It doesn't matter how high up the ladder I actually get. I'm striving to go up
at the same time. I mean, me personally, I view it as a ratio of wisdom. So, how much wisdom do you have? Are you a person who is wise or not? If you're not, then chances are you're a mouth breather. And the more wise you are, the less of a mouth breather you are. So, and that I've seen that practically play out in my life. And so that I know that I can rely on that, regardless of all of the beliefs out there. I know that wisdom is demonstrable. So I can put my faith, I guess, in that. Yeah. Not to get all weird. And then just
you're good. I'm like quiet. I'm like, I'm annoying myself because like I should go because I need to get ready for bed.
Yes, it's late.
It's been fun. It's been fun. I'm glad you've already got a successful campaign, and that.
Thank you.
We're just looking for like another grant to like start working on 3. So I'm looking forward to the success. Looking forward to digging in your channel, and I've had fun with you as a guest. And
we gotta hang out.
Chris,
you gotta come
over. Yeah, no problem. As long as we can time it right, because I got a weird schedule. I work 2 on, 2 off, and I do overtime a lot. So
we'll figure it out.
It's strange making it work. Some days this is like I just got home, maybe I ate some, and boom, we're streaming. Other days it's like I can relax and come into this, like today.
I gotta be up in 4 hours, so
so yeah, I struggle. So I'll let you get up and go to sleep. Go back, Immortal Rising. Go check out his channel. I'll link that in the description later, and me and Ricky should be here Thursday. Talk to you later.
Later. Bye, nerds.
Bye-bye.